Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the unique features that tend to really separate a fearful avoidant attachment style from an anxious preoccupied attachment style, even if you're like fearful avoidant leaning anxious. So the reason I'm making this video is because so many different individuals start out their attachment style healing journey thinking that they're anxious, only to later find out that they're fearful avoidant. So I'm going to help you really recognize, and we're going to talk specifically most so about the fear of abandonment as a fearful avoidant, as well as other core wounds and fears, and notice like how these things sort of shape our interactions and relationships. So the very first thing is that a fearful avoidant leaning anxious will not always activate around a fear of abandonment. Okay, so we have activating strategies, meaning like subconscious strategies to try to maintain proximity or closeness to our partner or a primary attachment figure when we are triggered, right? And you'll see anxious preoccupieds, when they feel like somebody's abandoning them, they always try to get closer, like very consistently, very intensely a lot of the time. They never want to create space. Fearful avoidance sometimes, when they fear abandonment, will try to create space. Sometimes they will activate, but other times the fearful avoidant will actually deactivate. They'll fear abandonment and they'll start in their mind going, okay, well, I don't need that person anyways, or it wasn't going to work out anyways. And they'll pull back and they'll hide to protect themselves. And I don't mean like hide, but they'll pull away and try to almost like deny or downplay their feelings in the relationship to self as a subconscious strategy to like self-protect, self-preserve. Whereas you really won't see that as an anxious preoccupied individual. That person will almost always be activating. Another big thing is anxious preoccupied individuals, when they struggle to trust, they tend to generally and most specifically struggle to trust that somebody will stay with them, will not abandon them or leave them alone in a relationship. Fearful avoidants struggle to trust more generally, right? They struggle to trust that somebody will stick around, but they also struggle to trust that they can really rely on somebody, depend on somebody, open up to somebody, that somebody will be loyal or faithful, that somebody will see their worth and their and will care for them. And fearful avoidants tend to have like this more overarching struggle around trust as a whole. Another thing too is sometimes fearful avoidants leaning anxious are in relationships with DAs. So they'll think that they're that anxious person, right? Because they'll relate more to the anxious side. But another thing that's really valuable to notice is that fearful avoidance, when you're in that situation with a DA, a lot of times we'll think about leaving that person. We'll think like, should I stay? Should I go? And even though you may be acting behaviorally more on your anxious side, a lot of your thoughts will sort of be swinging from anxious to avoidant. Like, should I stay? Should I go? Should I stay? Should I go? And a lot of that flip-flopping will take place for fearful avoidance, whereas that happens a lot less with APs. Their flip-flopping is more like, are they leaving me? I'm nervous. I'm afraid. Should I move closer to them or should I just give them space? But a lot of their thought patterns are sort of rotating around how can I people please that person better, sort of thing. Another huge marker for fearful avoidance is that fearful avoidance really tend to feel a lot of shame more often, whereas an anxious preoccupied will feel guilt quite a bit. They'll take a lot of personal responsibility on their shoulders in romantic relationships, but fearful avoidance will feel a lot of shame for making mistakes. Both will feel like I am bad and feel this need to people please, but fearful avoidance will tend to feel a lot more guilt very easily, and a lot more shame very easily. So both of those are really, really strong. Whereas for the AP, it's a lot more about like that personal responsibility and that guilt rather than, equal amounts of shame around things. And again, shame is the emotion that has a general tendency to make people deactivate. Often when people feel ashamed, they want to deflect, they want to hide, they want to create space. So you'll see a lot of that in fearful avoidance patterns of behavior. Another huge one is that fearful avoidance, you'll clearly see, will find reasons to need space when they feel defeated in relationships, especially if there's an argument or some sort of conflict. You may see an AP deactivate, quote unquote, for like a moment, but usually that's still a subconscious strategy to activate. It appears like it's deactivating, like they may pretend to push somebody away, but usually in an AP doing that, it's a test to see if the person still wants to be with them or wants to fight for them or wants to show up for them. Whereas for a fearful avoidant, what you'll tend to see is they'll push somebody away. And in the moment they're pushing somebody away, they're so triggered that they really mean it. They're like, I don't need this. They really feel like whatever happens, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm so upset. I just need this person away from me. So they'll push somebody away, but it's not a test to try to get close. It can be. Sometimes fearful avoidants will test their partners by pushing them away. But I'm talking about like the times that fearful avoidants are really triggered. They will really push away and they'll do things that tend to like be a little bit destructive to the relationship, say things that they can't take back, say things that they don't really mean. Make excuses to push away for longer, threaten to end a relationship, these things that are actually designed to create space. Whereas for the anxious preoccupied person, there will be these little pushing away to test, but it will last for like maybe seconds. Whereas for a fearful avoidant, they may push away for hours, for a few days. They can really need that space for longer when they're really in that triggered mindset. So these are some of the key differences. Obviously, the AP's biggest core wounds tend to be I am abandoned, I am alone, I am rejected, I'm not good enough, I am unsafe, and I need that certainty of that consistent connection. By the way, as well, if you want to do a big deep dive into reprogramming your attachment style and you want to like really dive into the courses, we have a 14-day free trial at PDS right now, and you'll be able to enter in and actually do our introductory attachment style reprogramming courses and our advanced attachment style courses that have to do with like how your attachment style may differ in each of the 6 stages of a relationship. And you'll have time to probably go through both quite easily in that 14-day period. If you want to just like check in, use those resources, they're so much more powerful than the videos because I can go so much more in depth and I can put actual exercises and worksheets and all that stuff as a supportive resource in there. So that link is in the description below if you'd like to check it out. And so we see the fear or the AP be more in that area of wounds, whereas fearful avoidance big wounds are I can't trust. I will be abandoned is still a big one, but also I'm defective or I will be shamed. I am unworthy. I am bad. I am trapped, helpless, powerless. They're so big for fearful avoidance, whereas they're not really that strong for anxious preoccupied individuals. So anyway, so these are some of the major signs that you'll see. And hopefully this is helpful to you on your journey if you're trying to figure out what attachment style you are, if you're AP or FA. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.